Okay. Happy Wednesday, man. Wednesday. Time is going fast. Hey Magnus, hey Mercurius. I am here working on my Hexcrawloween jam entry, and I think we're gonna go and do some stocking, hanging the stockings with care, except in this case we are stocking hexes. We are hanging our hexes with care in the hopes that St. Hexed Press soon will be there. Thursday, Australia. Damn it, Mercurius. Are you chatting with me from the future? All right, well, happy. Wow, what time is it in Australia? Was it after midnight? No, it's got to be past that. Well, happy Thursday to you, Mercurius. And why do I keep banging my desk, shaking it? Okay, you'll notice here I've got Hex Worldographer. This is the 2025. 2025, it's still that alpha. This is where I'd done the map last time, so I just kind of kept it in there. I hid the labels that were created if you were in the first stream. I did have some labels that I made for these areas, which may or may not be final. Where's the layers? Bloop. So you have the high mounts, the western green slopes, the eastern green slopes, and some down here, which don't have a name for at the moment. 3:36 a.m. Oh, jeepers. Just... Man, if I woke up at 3:36 a.m., you know what I'd be doing, Mercurius? I'd be turning around to go back to sleep. But I feel very honored that you would watch this in the middle of the night. The middle of the night might be the best time to watch these. I don't even know. All right. So we got Worldographer. Oh, I forgot. I meant to rehide that layer because it's too much going on. Back in, I want to go to features. We're gonna the areas here, and I think I just put these in kind of just as I was feeling them, these layers and these monsters. I think these two make sense for the monsters. Maybe these don't for the layers. I don't know. We'll see, but I'll just leave them in there. Why not? And then, so I'm mostly going to be concentrating on filling in these, which is actually not that many. So I'm not sure what'll be the next steps, but I might have time to do next steps. Geez, you have to get up at 4? Well, that's early. That is early. I feel like the only times I have to get up that early is if I have to go to the airport or something, and because depending on where I'm going, sometimes I'll schedule a really early flight so that I spend most of the day at the place I want to get to and not lose a day in transit. This just means you have to wake up at 2 a.m. or something to get out of here at 4 a.m. so you can be at the airport at 5 a.m. and blah blah blah. But other than that, man, I'm not getting up at 4 for nothing. Not if I can help it anyway. Now that would be my left hand side. On the what would be my right hand side are a couple tables. These I've messed around with these in some different formats. This one's a very simple one. It's really adapted from the dungeon stocking guidelines or tables in the basic set. You can actually see here I kept the first column of this top table. In the dungeon, you would roll this and it would tell you where they had a monster, a trap, some special. Special in the basic set, they're really, it could be something weird, not quite a trap. Well, actually, some of them are kind of traps. I would maybe call it a trick, and then a trap, it's not damaging you, but they would, something like one of those old Gygaxian specials, like you get in a room and the door closes and it spins around, and so you open the door again and it's not exiting where you thought it was, something like that. That would count as special, but it could also be environmental effects like moaning or a wind or a smell, something like that. That could all be there. And of course, you have empty. So you end up with a distribution of 33% of the time a monster, 16.6% time a trap, or you could say 33% time something either a trap or special. Like I said, could also kind of be a trap or empty, and 33% chance of empty. And then this is one where I didn't put the dungeon version, but basically in the dungeon, this is where you would ask, is there treasure? And then depending on what you roll, if you had monster up here, you would use this column and say, oh, yes, there's treasure, or no, there's not, and so on and so forth. In the wilderness, I'm going to do this a little bit differently. I'm calling them clues. I'd like to think of I'd like to come up with a better words. I don't know, something that's more thematic than clue. But right now, clue, which would be, well, we'll get into it. But basically, clues, clues, I think I'm looking at as kind of connective tissue between locations. If you watched my video the other day on, stocking hexes and saying, hey, you might have a grove of flowers, right? So you get the grove of flowers, which would be, I guess it would be, I didn't even decided where that kind of thing would be. Flora and fauna, maybe it would all be under creature, maybe. But then the clue might be that there's a trail that goes from this to something somewhere else. And so then you could start building up that. In essence, you're sort of building up these little point crawls within your hex crawl. Like, oh, okay, there's this weird grove is here, and then this trail leads, and there's something here, and then maybe that trail, whatever. It doesn't have to be a trail. It could be lots of things. It could be uh, a campsite that leads to something. But I think ultimately, what I want out of this kind of clue, the treasure, but in my sense, a clue is something that investigates and helps potentially push whoever discovers it, presumably the players, to explore further if they want to. So a campsite might lead them to ask questions. Hey, who's camping here? Oh, who is camping here? I'm not sure. We can keep looking around. Maybe we'll get something will be in that campsite that can then lead to something else. So you get to build out this kind of connective tissue, sort of make a web of these kind of clues through your Hexcrawl hex map. We'll see how that works. Hey, Brian, and hey, Frederick. Put in a green hag. Well, we'll see. I was gonna say I'm gonna be using the expert set for my initial monster setup. But I will probably differentiate from there. I probably say, you know what, maybe hazard, maybe flora would count. No, hazards. So the other thing is, I'm not gonna have traps. I mean, there could be. I mean, theoretically, you could have, it's a, what the trope of the one of those rope traps in the middle of the path, and you hang upside down and you got to get out, or somebody comes fetch you. But for the most part, hazards are going to be things like natural type hazards, obstacles. But maybe that'll also be, maybe that will also be something. So we'll have to figure that out, because that's one thing that you don't, in a dungeon, you don't have, or it would be a kind of a different set of roles. I should have looked at maybe I should have looked at the AD&D DMG in terms of not just contents, but kind of nature of room, which would be sort of that floor part. But we'll see. I might need to break things out, but that's why we're here. We're here to muck around and kind of dig in and see what we need. So let's just start rolling, and we'll see what we get. So the first, I'm just going to go in order here, and I'm going to be, well, we'll see. I'm marking these as white, which I think should mean that this will, cool. So this will be white as opposed to black, which are the things. I might scale these. I'm gonna maybe scale these down a little bit. How's that? Maybe even a little bit. Maybe 50. Okay, good. I like that too. Okay. So let's see. I'm gonna just roll both at the same time, and whatever the leftmost die will be what the thing is, and then the rightmost die will be the clue part. So I got 61, which means there's nothing particularly in it, but it does have a clue. So for clues, let's use an X marks the spot for clue. Let's see. Brian asked, those creeps with the red eyes are intriguing. Are those like large threats? Those would be major monsters, basically major creatures. All right, I got 21. So I got a monster with the clue. Now I gotta think about how am I gonna do two things at once. I might need to. I know there's a way to. Maybe I'll do ring. Ooh, I'll add a ring if there's a thing with a clue. Okay, let's try that. So I get a monster. I'm gonna add a ring. Ooh, nice. That way. So keep in mind, this is where we're. I'm doing everything's. I guess part of what I do is iterative steps. This isn't the end all, be all. It's this is kind of step one. Do we have a? Brian makes a good point. Question marks are good, but I don't know if I have one. I suppose I could just put in text version. But I'm just going to use symbology for ease of use. Using it. So I'll these will probably not be the end symbols because there are resources, there are different things. I'm not going to worry about it too much, right? I just want to just get stuff on the page. So I got 31. I'm getting a lot of ones here, which would be a trap. Maybe that should be a trap. I do want to make sure I'm getting the right thing. What's a good? I'll put that for trap. I mean that. And I got a clue again, right? It says trap or hazard, and yep. All right, so that's okay. And then we got another one. 40. Man, all these ones. 41. So a special, which would be, again, it could be an interesting. It's something sort of interesting, I guess. I don't have to see what a special symbol looks like. I think I'll use that for special. And it also has a clue. So lots of clues. Now, where these clues point to could be different things, right? So they don't all have to. They don't. This is a clue by itself. That X. I might need to change the symbol, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. But basically, just a clue, clue and a creature, clue and a hazard, clue and I guess special could be maybe a point of interest type thing. And like I said, these clues, maybe this one, the creature in the clue, maybe makes sense that the creature's from the lair. We'll roll up what that creature is after we're done. This hazard, maybe that hazard has to do, we can, basically what I'm saying is we'll look at all of these things as we'll go through and we'll try to suss out what's the best context for this. Maybe we'll determine that depending on what this creature roll is, maybe it'll make sense that that's the creature's lair. Maybe these will make sense to feed into the swamp. I think for big threats, it's nice to have lots of signposting or just elements and say, hey, there's something nasty here. Well, maybe these two things will directly relate to that monster, right? So we'll keep going. I'm going to start up here at I got 13. So I got a hazard. Right? No, 1. I got a creature. And I got a clue. 13. Yep, all right. So that's fine. Whoops. Lost my die. There we go. Stop that. Okay. 63. Empty and empty. So nothing here. Right? Yeah. Yep. 6, 3. Empty. Yep. Okay, so empty. 36. So there we got a hazard. Nothing else. So what do we say? So I can take off the ring. Hazard there. And then, okay, and then finally the mountains. 45. So we get a special with nothing else. So what was that, the point of interest kind of thing? And then we've got 61. So empty, but with a clue. Is that the X? Yeah. And then 65. Empty and empty. That's it. Magnus asks, does Hexcrawloween have to be spooky Halloween themed? The itch thing was kind of vague. It doesn't seem to be. I think I'm not at least at first glance. I'm not. I'm not. I don't have a particular Halloween theme in mind. I think I started kind of looking at that, and then I had the idea of trying to essentially qualify to join a grand hunt. And that, to me, maybe has a little bit of a Halloweeny vibe to it, but I'm not going for anything particularly Halloween. I don't think it has to be. I think it would do whatever. I think, the fun thing with these jams is really, do they inspire you and kind of help you get something done, giving you a deadline, giving you a goal, that kind of thing. If the jam or the rules or even implied or explicitly ever get in the way, then just, ditch that part and do the stuff that helps. So I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't worry about it. And this is just water for the working man. Relatively cold today still, which is good. I mean, it's obviously it's fun and it's that time of year, but I'm not gonna stress about it. Okay, so now we got some critters to get into. So we've got two big beasties, and we've got some number monsters. I don't really know if there's what the best way to do this. Well, I guess so. I'm gonna do some. Well, let's see that. Let's try this. Let me think here. Let me think. Okay, so we're gonna need some different environments. We've basically got a whole bunch of mountainous woods, wooded mountains. Which I think I'm gonna use the woods terrain for these, and I'll use mountains for these three in terms of critters. Dire Chupacabra, Magnus says. Yeah, maybe. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do is, why is it that if I extend this, yeah, see, this is something I don't like, Ouija. You're making me lose my piece. There we go. So I'm just gonna make some. Well, I have wait, hold on. Let me go back to my labels here for a second. I'm down. I know I'm bouncing around slightly. Apologies for that. Okay, so let's go here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use. So we got the western green slopes. I'm just going to roll up some critters. Let's see what we got here. So who is in the western green slopes? And I'm going to roll maybe 6, and then I'll see which one of those. We'll see what kind of context we get for the layer. Oh, wait a minute. I don't need to. Hold on. I'm going to need some different dice. So I'm using the Wilderness Encounters. That's page X57 to maybe X59. X57 to X58 in the expert set if you want to follow along. I need a D8. That's a D20. That's a D12. That's a D10. There's a D8. Okay, I'm going to need a D8. I am going to need a D12. I think that's it. I think they're all D8s and D12s. Seems like it. All right. So I'll just roll them both at the same time. First one I got is 76. So that will be on woods. 7 is animal. And on the animal list, I need a 6. Is a gecko. I'm gonna say they mean I'll call it a giant lizard. It's got to be at least a giant something. And one of the rules is to try to come up with your own monster list. So I'm gonna at least some unique monsters. So I will try to do that. But this will give me a kind of the first starting point. Second monster 24 or 2 and 4, which gives us 2 gives us a flyer. That'll be fun. And on the flyers table, oh, other, I see. 4 gives us a giant hawk. A giant hawk Tua. Now we get 4 and 11. Did I just do 4? Oh, 4 is an insect. That'll be kind of cool. Something good. Not something tiny and what I get? 11? Crab spiders. All right. All right, 2 more. Hextua. I'm down with that. Can I get the crossover? Me and Hawktua getting together? I'll play her through a game. 2 and 4 gives me another flyer. Oh, it's giant hawks again. I'll probably just combine those in two, but say I'll just do a giant hawk again. Maybe that indicates there's a giant hawk's nest somewhere, or that there's a good population. 5 and 8. 5 is, oh, we get unusual. I'm always down for unusual. 8, were rats. Those are definitely candidates to get rewritten to something. 4 and 7. I think it can fly. A lot of things flying around in those things. 4. Oh no, it's insect again. Woods, insect. Ragodessa. What the heck is a Ragodessa? Anybody know? What is Ragodessa? Oh, they're camel spiders. Interesting. Okay. So we got crab spiders and camel spiders. All right. Yeah. Brigader podcast. Yeah, something tells me getting a lot. We're gonna need a lot more. We're gonna need a lot more folks. All right, and I am, and I will definitely. There's, and this is, we got an initial list. I'm definitely gonna feel free to modify this list if I feel like it. But there's a good start. Now let's do the eastern side. The idea of the crab spiders. Wait, camel. Which ones? Hold on, crab spiders. Let me see. Any of them live underground? What am I thinking of? Hold on a minute. Sorry about that. Wikipedia. Where's your search bar? Why are you not? Oh, there it is. It's right. Okay, so let's look up crab spider. What's the deal with crab spider? This. Okay. All right. So the Thomisidae, family of spiders, including about 170 genera and over 2,100 species. The common name crab spider is often linked to species in this family, but is also applied loosely to many other families of spiders. Well, that's not helpful for us then. Many members of this family are also known as flower spiders or flower crab spiders. All right. So let's get into it here. Members of this family of spiders do not spin webs and are ambush predators. The two front legs are usually longer, more robust than the rest of the legs. The back two legs are smaller and usually covered in a series of strong spines. So do they live in flowers? Because that could be kind of a cool thing. What's the deal? All right, they do not build webs, though all of them produce silk for drop lines and sundry reproductive purposes, I must say. Yeah. Some are wandering hunters, and the most widely known are ambush predators. Some species sit on or beside flowers or fruit where they grab visiting insects. Individuals of some species, such as Misumena, all right, are able to change color over a period of some days. Oh, interesting. All right, so I like the idea that these could be. So this layer here, right? We're thinking maybe a cave. It could be. Remember, it's a layer. Maybe this is where the crab spider's hanging out, and there's a. Since they're going to be giant, that maybe there's one of these, just a giant flower garden. Maybe we can also throw something in here, right? If we think about, well, why are there giant flowers in here and not elsewhere? Maybe there's some other critter like some kind of spirit or something that's that's helping those flowers stay. So I like that. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna add remove. We're gonna make a note here, right? Hey, Death Cap Stories. So we're gonna make a note. So we're gonna have the, what would we call it? Elephantine flower gardens. Some sort of spirit, which we'll have to figure out here, tends to the garden with their um let's see, family of crab spiders. We'll do that for right there. There we go. So we got our first note. I kind of like that. Now I want to look up the camel spiders. It would be too cool if camel spiders, we could put them at odds with the other spiders. So I wonder if camel spiders eat other spiders. You do something like that. Then we could have a nice spider on spider conflict. Brian Smith says a spectral giant gardener continuing to tend their flower garden after death. Maybe some big old bones in there somewhere. Oh yeah, it could be. If we wanted to keep going with the let's get rid of that for right now. The theme. We could totally do that. All right, so let's see. Solifugae is an order of arachnids known variously as blah blah blah. Camel spiders. Yeah. All right, what is the? I don't care about the etymology at the moment. What is there? Ooh, look at that. Well, that's creepy. Among the most distinctive features are their large chelicerae, which in many species are longer than the prosoma. Well, I don't know what a prosoma is. So that's fine. I want to know what they do with their time. They got interesting eyes. Behavior. Here we go. Diet and hunting. Carnivores, typically generalists, feeding on a wide variety of prey in their given environment. For most species, insects. Oh, there it is. We got it. Womp, womp, womp. So, yep, they're going to be, we got a war brewing. So they're going to be maybe over here. Oops, didn't mean to. They don't make webs either, right? Are they, yeah, where do they live? Do they say where they live? I don't think they do. Oh, wait, sedentary, living in relatively permanent burrows. Oh, man, you know what? I might need to swap. All right. Yeah. Shoot. Because they might make sense with the burrow. Well, no, I guess we'll just say they're on the move. Never mind. We're on the move. They're on the move. We're just not going to have them. We're not going to have them spiders. Whoops. Camel spiders at war. What did I type? At war with the crab spiders in the flower garden. 0.000. Trail from here leads to flower garden through 0.1. There we go. So there's our first. So I think you get the idea of kind of our first clue. So I think just in terms of, one thing that's interesting, right, is we have this creatures that are in pretty close proximity, but remember there are these hills here. So presumably in terms of where these things are in the hex, the hills potentially keep them, they're on this side, and their eyes all however many they have, and those beetle eyes and their beetle heads are looking west rather than this way. So and maybe they've learned, not to, maybe they've been pushed back. We can also think about, the other thing is, maybe there are practices here. We kind of get into kind of cool cultural things. Are there practices that these folks do to keep these spiders away? What do they do? Do they harvest things? Do they have watches and hunts and things, right? So there could be multiple reasons why the spiders have just learned over time that we're gonna go compete this other way. And because they're going that way and they've done this multiple times, there's a trail that if you could follow the spider trail, it's and because they're going to be kind of giant, I don't think it'd be too hard to find. You can kind of come through here, right? And then we could even have something. See, there's nothing in this one, right? There's nothing in here, but now we can actually add a note here. we can say, you know, if searched, there's a 2 in 6 chance of discovering the spider trail that leads to 0.000 and 002.000. Save. Right? So even though we didn't roll anything, we have, it becomes this through point, because obviously if they're coming through, if the trail leads in here, that means even though there was nothing specific in here, that trail goes through here. So we just make a note that, hey, if they happen to be in this hex and they're bumping around searching, maybe they'll find it. Which also means that we could have an encounter here if we wanted to make some specific encounters between either spiders going back and forth or spiders fighting each other, something like that. It is the green slopes. The western green slopes are apparently full of spiders. Absolutely. Now we have this, which is a hazard with nothing else. So, oh yeah, well, actually, I'm not going to worry about that right yet. So we got, and there are giant hawks too. That could be another interesting thing, is maybe they're hawks if they're kind of flying around. The giant hawks might actually eat the spiders, which might keep them off the slopes of the hills. They gotta stay in the forest to avoid the hawks, the giant hawks. All right, so now we gotta do the eastern ones, which I just copy pasted from the western. That's why it's got that's why it's all filled out. But we're gonna refill it. All right, so let's. Oops, that's the wrong dice. 77 and 4. So first 7 is animal, and then 4 is, oh, there's a tiger. I'll just put giant cat right now. I'll figure out what kind of cat it is. Another good opportunity to come up with my own beastie. Hey, Jason. Well, welcome. 1 and 4. So, Jason, just to reset, I'm just using the hex, the random wandering creature list from the basic, from the expert set, just to fill kind of an initial. I'm just doing 6 for each region. So we just region here, Western Green Slopes is this area up here. Now we're doing this area down here. There's a bunch of symbology in here. You can go back if you want to kind of rewind in the stream where I kind of went through that a little bit. Otherwise, I think context will help set it up when we get there. So I'm not, but right now I copied these lists, so I'm kind of just writing over it. So my volume is low. I can turn up my volume. Is my volume low? Other people, it doesn't show low to me, but that doesn't mean it's not low. So let's see. Where is my? Hold on a minute. Let's see. How can I? Where's my volume control? Hold on a minute. Just before I go through setting it up, just let me do this volume bit. Yeah. Open that up. All right. I can raise. I'll give myself a little more gain. All right. I gave myself a little bit more. Hopefully that clears that up. Let me know if it doth not. Okay. What did I get? I got 1 and 4. Did I do this one already? 1 and 4? I don't think so. 1 and 4. Oh, I get men. And here there were men. And 4 for the woods is a merchant? Huh. Well, we'll throw them in there. Well, I don't want you to double your volume, Jason. I just want to make sure I'm not other people's ears aren't bleeding when I turn it up. Because, you know, some folks, different people, different setups, different things. I usually keep my volume the same, so it's interesting that you find it low this time. Oh, you like the rivers on the borders? Yeah, I like that. I go back and forth between liking them kind of in the middle sometimes on the borders. But yeah, this one I did borders. They're good dividers of areas. All right, 2 and 4 this time. What is 2? 2 is a flyer. Did I get giant hawks again? Well, actually, that wouldn't be bad. I like a little bit of... where's flyers? Yep, I did get giant hawks. All right, well, that's actually... I don't mind that at all. Because it means we have a little bit of overlap between the two regions. And since they're connected, I think that suits me just fine. 7 and 4. So now 7... 7 is animal, and 4, a giant cat again. I will combine these when I finalize them. So it's interesting that on one side we got a bunch of giant hawks. They are still giant hawks, but now we got these tigers that have 7 and 5. Is that the same thing? Animal and... yeah, what's right after... regular hawks? I'm going to call them giant hawks again. I'm not going to worry about regular hawks. Who wants a regular hawk when you can have giant hawks? Deathcap Source asks what I'm thinking for the giant cat. No idea at the moment. No idea at all. We do have a lair here, and it might make sense that the giant cats are going to be associated with that lair. But I have no idea. You know, we could go just totally make something up. We could go with... saber-toothed tigers or some kind of cave lion. No, if you have a concept, you're welcome to toss it out there. I don't have anything yet, but hope something will come to us, I am sure. Ooh, I got an unusual and then 7. So 5 is unusual and 7 is... where's unusual? Were-boar. Ooh, I like that. So we got were-rats and were-boars. Yeah, I know, Terrence, the regular hawk enthusiasts in shambles. Oh, man. Well, we got a lot of things here. So we have were-boars, we got the giant hawks still, we got the giant cats, and we got we have a merchant. Now keep in mind, I don't usually do like regular animals so much in my encounters. If you're going hunting or things, there'll be a chance for animals like that. I think of encounters anyway, so the real notable stuff. Like you see some antelope, you know, you're driving down the road and you see a deer by the side of the, you know, that's grazing, right? I'm driving to the country or I'm driving back from Studio B and I see a deer out there in the country. It's like, okay, it's not notable to me. And as a GM, I'm not likely going to stop things and say, you see a deer. Maybe I'll mention is like, oh, in the distance, you can see deer, whatever. That's just kind of part of the thing. So what I'm looking for the wandering creature is something that is at least potentially take notice. So like a giant elk or some kind of massive thing or a magical thing, like that's something I like take notice, right? So that's why I'm sort of like a hawk, a normal hawk. Okay, you see a hawk wheeling in the sky. Okay, that's great. They're there. You probably see a bunch of them. Not notable. So that's not to mean that these slopes are filled with horrors and giants and things and there's no regular critters. Of course there are. Yes, the spiders are giant. Yep. Everything is at least is gonna be of some proportion that if you saw it or saw the traces of it, you'd at least be given pause or want to investigate, you know, or both. And the micro, the merchant is Lilliputian, exactly. So, what would the merchant be? I wonder if that might be a one-time encounter, something that you might have in you know, I'm thinking of in a hex crawl where the first time you come into a hex, there's something going on, but is not there all the time. I'm not sure, because why would a merchant be out in these woods? I'll have to give that a think. I'll have to give that one a think. in terms of the lair, it's either got to be, I think it's either got to be the giant boars, the wereboars, sorry, or the giant cats. Maybe I'll say the wereboars. I'll put the wereboars in the lair. I wonder what the were-rats are doing. We didn't really come up with what the were-rats are. There is this hazard up here. Maybe I put the were-rats here and I move and I make that glade. I wish I could move. Can I move that? I think maybe I can. Hold on. Let me add, edit, view. Can I move it? Let's see. Brian says the were-rats and were-boars are humanoids, right? Seems like they'll be the most complicated or have the most tie-ins. Yes. Now remember, keeping in mind, I guess number one, they're also, I think, might be ripe for. I'm just going to move that down. Ripe for me to convert into some kind of custom critter, because I have to make some custom critters. So that might work well for them. I'll change this to. No, I don't know. Sorry, this is the were-rats. And I will delete this. Oh yeah, I do have to change some references. So it's not going to 000. It's going to 00001. Got to keep those straight. Yeah, so they'll be humanoids. Whether they'll end up being some kind of shapeshifters, or they'll just be were-rats and were-boars, or they're going to be some kind of pig-faced orc thing for the were-boars, and I don't know what for the were-rats. Remains to be seen. So by that note, I'm going to put the were-boar layer over here. And I have to imagine that maybe there's some kind of conflict going on. I think one of the things when you're building up your kind of a hexcrawl sandbox is you want to have all these relationships, which often I think conflicts work well. If everybody's working together, then there's really no tension there. What you want is you can have some things working together, but you also want to have things clashing with each other, because that's where the party inserts themselves or can insert themselves on one side or the other, or both. If they want to do the classic play both sides against the middle kind of thing. So I like thinking about, well, you have these two kind of humanoid, potentially shape-shifting critters. They're all literally on opposite sides of the map. Probably don't like each other. Maybe even there's something here, because I was thinking like this might have been a mage's tower. Maybe that there's some connection with this, which I think I'll make a note. Abandoned Mage's Tower. The chiefs of the were-rats and were-boars were originally apprentices of the old mage. They had a falling out. And a mishap during a magic duel between them transformed them into their current forms. So something like that. Just a first. We'll refine these as we go, but just kind of a first pass. Brian says that the mage always out there doing too much flushing their experiments down the river or something. Yep. Accursed or enhanced? Well, I suppose you could argue both. Death Cap. I think this is something I've played with in another thing, and I kind of like it, so I don't know if I'll reuse it here or do it. I like the idea of that they're either have kind of forgotten who they used to be, or they've they've somehow gotten kind of longer lifespans, and they've sort of they're kind of becoming more. They're forgetting their higher selves. Maybe they don't know that. And here's the interesting kind of puzzle. Maybe there's some way. This is another thing that the party. I'll make a note, right? Is there a way, how might the party learn about this? And is there a way for the party to undo this? And I'll put it, and that could be one of the things. Maybe one of them will not want to go back. Maybe one of them enjoys being a boar thing or a rat thing, and the other one doesn't want to. But the other thing might be is they might be grabbing people, from, maybe they're, because they obviously I assume there's more than one of them, so maybe they're able to infect, like with lycanthropy, that we can make it a little bit different, but they've kind of grabbed people. So, the leaders might not want to change. Maybe they can't change, but maybe others do. So to save these other villagers or whomever that they've been pulling, that they need to be dragged back to the tower, and maybe there's some item somewhere. All right, so we've got so this is a monster and a clue. This is just a clue. Point of interest and a clue. Hazard and a clue. Bum, bum, bum. I'm not sure where the rest of these fit in there yet, but that's okay. We don't have to have it all figured out right now. I'm going to keep rolling for monsters, and then, or creatures, I suppose I should say. Now we're going to get into we don't have that many spaces for it, but we have the, what did I call it? Calling that the high mounts. So let's do the high mounts next. Okay, so now we're going to roll some more dice. We're on to mountains, so we should get better chance of getting some nastier things in the mountains. So let's see. 69. Ha ha! Yes, Birdman! Humanoid. Okay, humanoid, and which type of humanoid? Kobolds, which I'll probably skin at least. Kobolds. 59. 59. Animal. We haven't gotten a 9 on the animal list yet. Oh, it doesn't matter anyway. Snake. Pit viper. Giant. I suppose something like that with the poison could be fine, maybe not supersized, just because it is kind of a threat. But really only if you surprise it. Otherwise, how would you even see it? If there's a pit viper at 30 yards away, how are you even noticing it? You're not. That's one of those things, too, because remember, you have... the encounters work basically the same way as in a dungeon, so you have surprise and you have distance, and if you're not surprised and you roll distance and it's long and the thing is tiny, well, what exactly are you seeing? I mean, yes, I suppose you could see a trail or something, but it just seems a little bit weird. Plus, I want things to be enhanced reality, heightened reality. All right, I got 13, or 1 of the 3. So 1 is men. Oh, we got some. And then 3. Oh, we get some adventurers. There's a rival crew at work. $79, I think, right? Yep. 79 gives me dragon. Now we're talking. And 9 hydra. Ooh, there's a hydra. The rats and the rat catchers? Yeah, that could be some. 3 and 10. 3 and 10. Humanoid. Where's humanoid? And 10. Orc. So also probably. Blue. And then 8 and 3. 8 is dragon again. 3 is a blue dragon. And it's possible that one of these could live in here. That either the Hydra or the blue dragon. Blue dragon's usually cold, right? They're not wet. I noticed it said sea Hydra. Let me see. What is the... I'm not familiar with sea hydras. Let's see if they say anything about... I mean, obviously they live in the water, but does a sea hydra, can it go on land? Could that be something that's going back and forth? Hydra. Okay, so let's see. So here it says for sea hydra, these hydras have adapted to water. They possess fins instead of legs. They are otherwise the same as their land-dwelling cousins. Oh, look at this. We get a little note here. The DM may wish to create special versions of hydra. Special hydras could have poisonous bites or breathe fire. Let's see. Such creatures should be placed by the GM to guard special treasures. Well, there you go. There you go. Maybe I'll just say the Hydra is... The Hydra is... it's kind of got... It's like a sea lion. It can go on land or sea. Now, it's better in the water, but maybe it can... Maybe it's like the... Yeah, sea lion kind of thing. Not a seal, but a sea lion. That might work. Or it could be now that... Well, let's just go. Blue dragons, I think, are the ones that are cold. So that one makes sense for kind of a peaks. Maybe it doesn't have... Maybe it's not layering here specifically, but it's bouncing around. Or I could put it... I could put it there. Maybe that could be its plot line. Could be the blue dragon is looking for a lair. Looking for a new home. Maybe I'll put a note. Let's move this down. Notes. Blue dragon is looking for... Whoops, what am I doing? I'm not trying to save you. No, not... Oh, come on. What are you doing? I'm going to get rid of you just so I can... There we go. Notes. Blue dragon is searching for a suitable lair. Oh, I didn't mean to have that. Thank you. All right, so that's the high mounts. Now, what do we got left? We've got... I'm not going to worry about this here. We got... I think we got everything. Well, we got the swamps, and we have this. I think... Yeah, well, I think maybe the Hydra. Well, I guess we'll do the lake too. We'll do all the locations. Let's see what we got. I don't have the lake yet, but we know it's the only big water we have. So let's just roll it up and see what we get. Let's see. I gotta go find my list again since I went to check out Hydras. All right, give me a second. So we don't have... I'll do ocean because they don't have a lake. Yeah, there's no lake terrain. 36. So, or sorry, 3 and 6, I should say. So a swimmer. Where's a swimmer? Oh, they have a river lake. All right. Maybe I should use river then? Is that what's supposed to be river / lake? All right, I'll use river. So what is 3 for river? That was actually humanoid. Okay, I'll do river. Humanoid. Don't have humanoid for river. Oh, there it is. When I get 6. Lizard men. I'm down. I'm always enjoying good lizard folk. I'm down with that. All right. And then 61. So that's for river. Now we get a swimmer. And the first swimmer entry. Giant crabs. Giant enemy crabs. 7 and 4 gives us animal. Giant cat. Could they be in 2 different spots? $88 and 4 gives us dragon. Oh, a gold dragon. All right. Maybe that's who's layering there. There's going to be a lot of conflict, some high-powered monsters up there. 16, or 1 and 6. I don't know why I'm saying they're not. I'm not rolling D10s. 1 is men. Buccaneer. Some kind of pirate. Lake pirate. And then finally, the heck kind of lake pirate is. I'll think about that. 1 and 5, which I think is men again. And also pirates. Wow, so we got there's some kind of pirate presence on here. I don't know what that would be. And then our last one. We'll do the swamp. We'll do the swamp, and then we got, okay, 8 and 11 for swamp. Dragon. And 11's a basilisk. Now, I don't know, since I only have 1 hex. I don't know. We'll see about if I keep all 6 of these or not. Let's just get what I get through. 8 and 11. Did I just do that again? Did I roll the same thing twice? 8. Yep. Got basilisk twice. So maybe it's a basilisk that's in there. Two and 5 gives me 2 is flyer. 5 hippogriff. Did I spell that right? Yes, I think I did. 4 and 6 is 4 swimmer. Piranha. Probably giant piranha. I'll probably change that into something else. Am I going to get some swamp buccaneers? That's what I want to know. Cocked. 7 and 5. 7 insect. That makes sense. 5 driver ants. And last one. 8 and 11. 8 is dragon, I think. Yep. And 11. The basilisk. Wow. Basilisk 3 times. So basically, if I made that table, this actually works out pretty well because it's just 1 hex, and it's not even, and there's only 3-mile hexes. But that means that basically there's a 50% chance if you roll an encounter in there that you'll probably get the basilisk, which will probably be the lair creature in here, and then the hippogriff, some kind of carnivorous fish we'll throw in there, and maybe driver ants around the perimeter or somewhere getting in there. the other thing I can do here is I can, we can sort of, we could combine these in some ways. If we found ourselves moving some of them and we need some of the overlap, I think having some overlap is good. Like I like the giant hawks overlapping the woods because maybe it makes sense that they're going through there. Overlap. The idea of having the two, we'll go on this way, I guess, the two different types of spiders who are at war. So we got some good kind of story building coming up. So we just to recap as I'm sort of closing this off for today. All we did was roll to see kind of what's inside, and I'm gonna take these labels off again. Right, we just rolled to see what was inside, and I made some symbology. These are kind of point of interest type things. If there's a circle around, it's got a clue. Otherwise, if it's just a clue, you get kind of an X. This is some kind of hazard. The radioactive sign. A creature is that monster, the white monster sign. So we got a lot of stuff in here. There's pretty much something everywhere, which I think is fun, especially as something that I'm going to be handing off to somebody else. This just means that the first time the party crosses into it, you probably won't have to roll on anything to see what's inside. You can just use what's inside, and then later on, if you're coming back to it, then maybe you could roll to see if there's something else going on. In any case, but we got some nice stories. We determined that there's a kind of grove of flowers over here, giant grove that something is tending. We haven't quite figured out what. Brian Smith suggested maybe it was some kind of dead spiritual spirit of a gardener or some kind of force like that. I definitely think something magical or divine or just some kind of nature spirit or something that has been given nature spirit powers would be appropriate there. And there are crab spiders who live amongst those flowers and they just help keep away other giant insects. But there are these camel spiders who they're fighting with and they're battling it out. And the camel spiders eat other arachnids, so it's appropriate for them to potentially be coming after the crab spiders. And then this middle one, there's really nothing in here itself, but there is potentially you could find the trail where these guys are going back and forth. Then in the cave over here, we have some were-rats. We've determined that the leader of the were-rats used to be an apprentice of a mage or wizard who lived in this tower here, and that got turned into a were-rat as a part of a mishap from a magical duel. Now here on the other side of these woods, the other apprentice that was involved in the magical duel got turned into a wereboar, and they're here. We didn't come up with as many. We haven't quite figured out what's going on with these individual hexes, but we got some ideas of what might be in them. Giant cats, giant hawks, the wereboars, and a merchant. Not sure how the merchant comes into play there. Maybe the merchant was kidnapped. That might be an event kind of thing. Oh, a merchant was kidnapped and maybe is being held with the wereboars. That might be a good way for the party to get involved if that's something that an intro, because maybe in one of these this castle here or in the village or somewhere that there was a merchant who was supposed to be passing through or didn't, and they were maybe somewhere here, they were kidnapped and dragged back for whatever purposes to the giant boars. In the mountains, we got a bunch of stuff going on in the mountains, but in terms of monsters, we got kobolds, some giant snakes, a rival or at least another adventuring party, a hydra, some orcs, and a blue dragon. Then in the lake, we've got lizard folk, giant crabs, giant cat again, a gold dragon, pirates. I might combine some of these. Maybe the lizard folk are pirates. I'm not sure. It seems like a lot, and I'm not sure what all these would do. And who are the pirates pirating? Since I didn't really envision this as kind of a hub of commerce, so much as basically a high mountain lake that's the source for the bigger river and whatnot. But we'll have to see what the pirates are doing there. Might have to kind of rethink that a little bit, but that's okay. This is all just first pass kind of stuff. And then finally in the swamps, we got a basilisk. I just rolled it up a few times, which actually works. So probably the main monster in here will be the basilisk. And there's a hippogriff going around. There's some kind of carnivorous fish in here, maybe driver ants. And yeah, that's it. So we spent about an hour or so of work just over. And we started off with all the black kind of locations in here and the terrain, obviously. And then all the stuff in white is stuff that we added in, all these critters we added in. And now probably in the next stream, maybe tomorrow, maybe later on, we will continue to refine and keep pulling out stories that arise from refining this kind of raw materials that we're getting. And hopefully by the end of this whole thing, we'll have a fun kind of sandbox area to play around in. Anywho, you know what? I yesterday on stream, gamers on games mentioned that James Carpio passed. The name didn't ring a bell, and then he said Solarian Games, and that kind of rang a bell. And here's the brutal thing about it, and once again, just my condolences. But he was at ShireCon, and I know I just didn't, and it's just it bums me out because he would have been someone, if I'd known who he was, it would have been cool to talk to him, just say hello and whatever. But obviously, whatever happened to him happened quickly, and it happened. He was just. So I don't know where he lives or where their headquarters are, but we literally were in that same space on Saturday, and next thing I know, he's gone. So I guess maybe just if you have a chance, I didn't know he was there. I wasn't familiar with what he looked like. I only kind of knew him from sort of some of the games he'd worked on that I didn't really know were him. In fact, Daniel and I and Jason were talking about the top secret game that he worked on. And, you didn't know that he was there, number one, and then now he's gone. So, take advantage of your opportunities, I guess is what I'm saying, because you never know when the opportunity you miss is the last opportunity you'll ever have. Anywho. All right, Jason. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. For everyone else, hope you enjoyed it too. Hopefully it was useful. And if you didn't get a chance to watch it now, hope you'll watch it at some point. But whenever you end up watching or listening to it, have a great rest of your day, night, or whenever that is. Game on, everybody. And I'll talk to you later. Bye now.